I know you all like controversy. You can't attack me for not finishing your favorite books, okay? Hello, my name is Elise, and I am in a really big reading slump. It is the middle of November, and I have finished about 2 books, except one of the books was maybe less than 200 pages, I'm not sure. So not getting far this month. And also, since I'm not reading a lot, I kind of don't have too many booktube ideas because there's just not a lot of books going in the spring currently. So to make up for that, I'm going to be going over some books that I did not finish. If you're pretty familiar with booktube lingo or just general book community lingo, you'll probably know that DNF stands for did not finish. I personally have a Goodreads shelf that has all of the books I did not finish. I usually try not to not finish books. So I try to finish my books, okay? And usually if I don't finish a book, I'll just pretend it didn't exist and just take it off of Goodreads. But I finally took the step to make a DNF shelf on Goodreads so that way I could look back at the books I didn't finish and perhaps try to finish them later. So again, if you see some of your favorite books represented in this video, because you probably will, just know that there's a great possibility that I might come back to them. And a lot of these books I do plan to go back to. I just didn't have the time to read them when I was reading the book, or I just wasn't interested at that moment, or just wasn't the right time or mood or whatever. But yeah, basically I didn't finish any of the books in this video, but that doesn't mean I will never not complete them. There we go. Alright, I'm just going to get it over with the first book so y'all can just attack me right now. But one of the books I did not finish this year is The Poppy War. Yeah, I know, you're all the hatred, I feel it. But whatever. The case is not that I did not like the book, because I did really enjoy this book, and I got about 60% done with it. But the problem was, it was a quite long book, and I was reading it at a time when I didn't have time to read such a long book. So I checked it out from the library. I had 2 weeks with it, and then the book expired off of Libby, so I no longer had it after I made it 60% into the book. And then I kept putting it on hold so that way I could finish the book, and the hold came like a month later, and then I didn't really have time when the hold came, so I just never got to finish it. I promise I have every intention of finishing it, okay? It feels wrong that The Poppy War is on my DNF shelf because, again, I was really enjoying it while I was reading it. I just didn't have the opportunity to finish it. And maybe that's a good excuse for me to finally buy the book, but I am on a book buying ban right now, so maybe not. But I promise I'll finish it eventually. I guess I'll just get it over with right now and mention another book that I didn't finish that seems to be a book community favorite. It is The Six of Crows. I know, I'm sorry. I started this book years ago, like seriously years ago, probably around the time that it came out, or maybe like a year after it came out, and I was trying to read it, but it was at a time where I wasn't that into books. I've had years where I kind of go off and on about how much I read, and at that time I just wasn't feeling the whole reading thing, and I tried to read it and I didn't get very far, and I was reading it as a ebook, and then a couple years later I got it as a physical book, but then I stopped reading altogether, and then I just never got finished. Again, it's another book where it wasn't bad. I didn't put it down because I was bored. I just wasn't in the mood for it, and I don't know, I just find fantasy a bit difficult to read. I didn't get that far, I'm just assuming it's fantasy. But yeah, I find that kind of genre difficult to read. I usually read contemporary, so it was difficult to continue reading that when I wasn't in the mood for it, and that's not an easy genre for me. So yes, I have every intention of finishing it eventually, or actually starting over and then finishing it. But yeah, technically Six of Crows is on my DNF shelf. You're gonna see a common theme in this video. A lot of the books I mentioned happen to be from one of the most popular genres on BookTube, so I'm sorry for this next book, but I did not finish A Court of Mist and Fury from the Court of Thorns and Roses series. I guess that's what it's called. But yeah, I know that series is super popular. I know it does have some controversy. There are some differing opinions, but overall, most people know what A Court of Thorns and Roses is. I did read the first one. I thought it was okay. I gave it 4 stars, but realistically, that was generous for me. I don't think I loved it that much. And I tried to read the second book, and I just couldn't. I mean, I didn't get very far into it. Maybe if I pushed myself a bit more, I would have enjoyed the series more. But I just read the first few chapters and I could not continue. Again, maybe I'll try to pick up that series again because I keep seeing people tell me to give it a second chance. But yeah, that second book was never finished. I guess I'll just get all of my fantasy books out of the way. Another book I recently DNF'd was Furyborn. I really wanted to love this one. I've heard so many people on Twitter talk about it, and I just wanted to be a part of that too, okay? But I just could not get into this book. I could not tell you what it's about, like not a word. I read over half of it. I think I read at least maybe like 3/4 of it, and I gave up. I just could not do it. It was a 2-perspective book, kind of jumping around with the timeline. So one was more historical, one was more present, if that makes sense. And I already hate dual point of views, but the whole timeline jump was really confusing to me, and I just didn't connect with any of the characters, and I had no idea what was going on, and I really wanted to force myself to finish it, but I just couldn't. I really could not, and I know a lot of people love this book, but it just was not doing it for me. Another book I DNF'd, if anyone has heard of it, was Black Wings Beating. I wanted to get this book so bad when it came out, and I did get it when it came out. At this point, I cannot remember the summary of it at all. I do know that it has a bunch of LGBT rep in it, and there's something about training birds. I don't know. I remember when I read that summary, I was like, that sounds epic. I want to read this. And then I just could not finish it. It was really slow at the beginning, and I just felt confused and not interested in the characters, and I was really disappointed because I liked the author Alex Landon's other books, and yeah, it was a total disappointment. I still own the book, so maybe I'll finish it, but definitely was not great the first time. The next book I didn't finish. I remember hearing about this book so much when I read it in about like 2016. I was 15 years old. I have not heard about it in a really long time, so I don't know if people are still reading it, but it is the Captive Prince trilogy. I read the first book, and I did not finish the second book. I think I got maybe like 10-15% into it, and it was a wild, controversial book when I read it about like 5 years ago. I have my summary, or my review that I wrote at the time, and because I couldn't remember what it was about, and just looking at the little parts of my review that I put in bold, I said there are many heavy elements in this book such as sex, slavery, abuse, rape, and pedophilia. And if I remember correctly, those weren't just trigger warnings, those were almost the center of the book, and it was borderline weird. Like, you didn't know if the author was trying to make this something serious or if she was romanticizing things she shouldn't. I don't know. I stuck with it for the first book, and then by the second book I was like, I cannot deal with this anymore. Another book that I DNF'd was The Foxhole Court. I think the series that it's from is called All for the Game, and I remember this book being very popular a couple years ago. Sometimes I still see it on the timeline. Definitely not as popular as some of the other books I've mentioned, but a lot of people did know about it, I think, at the time. I don't know, I was on book Twitter a couple years ago when it was very popular, and I really wanted to read it. It's supposed to have great LGBT rep and, I don't know, just be good, and then I just did not see that at all. I really struggled with the writing style. I just didn't think it was that great or impressive or even tolerable, can I say? And yeah, I just ended up not finishing it. I recently downloaded it again on my Kindle, so again, might give it another try. Who knows? But yeah, I've tried to read this book multiple times now, and I have not been able to get past the first few chapters. I'm going to mention She Who Shall Not Be Named right now. I was not a kid who grew up on Harry Potter, and I always felt like I should be reading Harry Potter. So a couple years ago, maybe 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I forced myself to read the first book or two, maybe the first 3, I'm not sure, but I DNF'd that series so hard. This was before any of the controversy with the author really blew up, unless there was more controversy with the author that I didn't know about, but I don't know, I never paid attention to the Harry Potter fandom because it did not interest me at all. So maybe there was controversy before, but I just didn't know about it. But anyways, I could not for the life of me finish the series. And again, I didn't know about any controversy, so this was solely based on the content of the books. And I will be the first to say, well, I'm sure I'm not the first to say this, but I will wholeheartedly say that I could not get through this series. I thought the first book was maybe okay, but the writing was so unimpressive, and I know it's supposed to get better as it goes on, or at least more sophisticated, but I just could not make it through those books. Again, I gave at least 2 or 3 of the books a try, could not finish it. I still own some of them somewhere on this shelf because I thought I was gonna finish the series. It did not happen, and it will not happen now. So not only is a theme in this video me not liking fantasy books, but also me just not finishing series. Another book that I DNF'd a while ago was City of Glass. I think that's the 3rd book in the Mortal Instruments series, and I think that's what the series is called. But I read the first 2 in middle school many years ago, and I thought they were okay. Nothing like incredibly impressive, but by the 3rd book, I mean, it wasn't happening. I could not get through it. Unless I'm fooling myself and I actually didn't finish the 2nd book. No, I think I finished the 2nd book. Whatever I didn't finish, I obviously didn't finish the whole series, and it did not stick with me enough for me to remember how many books I read. My lighting died! Since I am no longer light and bright and glowing due to my little lighting thingy dying, I guess I'll only mention 2 more books. These are both classic books that I DNF'd. Both of them I picked up on my own will. They weren't for school or anything. One was Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, and the other one was A Clockwork Orange. I'm mentioning these 2 because I really wanted to enjoy them for some reason without knowing much about them. They were just books that I had a feeling would fit my interest, even though I hadn't tried to read them before, and then I just ended up not liking them at all. Especially Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, I really thought I was gonna like that a lot more, and I just really struggled to finish it, even though it wasn't that difficult to read. But yeah, I don't think I would be giving either of those another try. Well, I guess I'm going to wrap this video up because I really hate the fact that my lighting is not here. I've definitely DNF'd a lot more books, so sorry for only ragging on fantasy today. Perhaps a sequel to my DNF video is in store, who knows. But yeah, I'm sorry if some of your favorite books were mentioned in this video. Again, a lot of them weren't bad, I just wasn't feeling it at the time, so maybe I'll pick them up again. But hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and see you in another video. Another book I DNF'd, if anyone has heard of it, was Black Wings. Another book I DNF'd, if anyone has